So tonight is about just finding out as much as you need to from us about how you perhaps apply or what things might work of submissions, anything at all really you can ask us. Okay, so the idea behind the award is, we are pretty huge now as Old Vic New Voices, but what we don't have is we can provide lots of things, but not necessarily a space, and we certainly can't provide the Old Vic theatre space. What we did last year was work with the wonderful Theatre 503, who have a fantastic ethos and are, enthused by new writing and new work, and like us want to get fresh talent out there. We're eager for everybody and anybody to apply. The slight difference this year is that we have a new partner, and it's part of a bigger initiative that we're about to embark on called the Ideas Tap, and that's one of our key sponsors. And so to apply to be part of the award, you have to become a member of the Ideas Tap.
503 is a new writing theatre based above the Latchmere pub in Battersea. It used to be called the Latchmere Theatre. We produced exclusively new plays, which has a variety of meanings. It may mean something that's never been seen anywhere in the world before. It may mean something that's having its UK premiere. It may mean something very occasionally that's having its London premiere. We receive about 1,000 unsolicited scripts a year, and we read them all. Our tagline is fearless new writing. We try to do things that other people aren't doing. So we believe passionately in the idea that new writing can be epic. We believe that small space can be an epic space. We've ripped out all the seats in 503 and turned it into a ship. We've had 8 actors playing 36 characters in a play set over 1,000 years with moving walls and live fire in it. We've had a revolve, and the stage space is about as wide as from that wall to this wall, 5 metres deep. So it's a small 65-seat theatre. The thing that gets us most excited is by someone saying, "Oh, but that wouldn't work at 503," and then we want to do it.
What made you choose last year's winners?
It was the best piece. Very, very, very simply. We imagine that there will be more submissions this year. In fact, there already are more submissions this year than there were last year, because we've opened it up to a wider pool of people to submit. We'll create a long list of scripts. Every script will be read by 2 people at least, and then from a long list we'll create a short list, which will be read by a much larger group of people who will then sit around and debate. Each reader will give each script a score, and then we'll average the scores, and that should lead us to the winner.
The criteria for that, I suppose that's what you're really asking. The usual things plus our own thing of being fearless. So I think there were 6 categories, and those were to do with originality of voice and structure, all the usual things. And then I think additionally, there's 5 or 6, and then additionally it was how fearless is it, because I think for us a play could be amazing, but if it's fundamentally a kind of very conservative piece, albeit brilliantly structured, I think we'd have a question about why it was for us.
Our tagline is fearless new writing. What are you doing that hasn't been seen before? How are you telling a story that hasn't been told in a certain way before? What's making your work stand out? I don't want to be, and Paul doesn't want to be, and Steve, in fact no one else at the Old Vic wants to be prescriptive about what you submit to us, because the only boundary for a play is the edge of your imagination as a writer or as a deviser. Paul and I, part of our ethos of 503 is we passionately don't believe that it's theatre's job to give answers, but we believe more fervently that it's your job to ask the question. That passionately doesn't mean write a weighty play. In fact, if you submit a risk slasher, the chances are we'll all go, really? What are you posing to us that hasn't been posed before? Or how are you posing a question that we haven't encountered before? That really, I can't underline this enough. Don't be dogmatic. Don't be instructive. Unless that's the play that you've written, but don't alter the play that you're writing to fit our criteria. Write the play that's the story that you want to tell.
I mean, I feel like the thing that I noticed about the award is just Mad Funny Just I Am a Superhero and the play that won it in its first year, Mike Bartlett's play, are all so different from each other that I feel like I don't feel anyone has any criteria. I think it's just about the work, what I can see. I mean, me and Lucy had a lot of fun being really bold, and I mean, like you said, Tim, fearless, and sort of hung, I don't know if anyone saw I'm a Superhero, we kind of hung these massive boards that moved to the left and moved to the right and turned around from the lighting rig. And I mean, I just felt like it was an opportunity to experiment because we had this budget, we had these resources. And I think we had a lot of fun in this space, just sort of thinking of like no restrictions and just being as bold and experimental and innovative and theatrical as we could.
The most useful thing that I did was I made a piece of work I wanted to make, regardless of the award. And that's probably not quite the right advice if it's just for the award, but I think it is in a sense, in that it was just like, it was something that I really wanted to do. I've done it before, like thought about what they want to hear or loopholes or like, oh, what sort of hoops am I supposed to jump through for this one? But actually with this, I just kind of went, actually, I really want to make this piece of work.
And we put anything on in London before, we've come from a different place, so we're coming completely fresh with no contacts or anything. That's not
the whole point is that the whole point is that all the new voices continues to grow. We want fresh energy all the time. The Ideas tab, the new website, is all about that too. So you can easily become an associate member and register on the Ideas tab, and then there you go. You're part of it already. Then it doesn't have to be any more difficult or involved than that. We just hope that the more involved you are in the process and the more you put into the application, the more people you would hopefully get involved from the club. The more the better, the more the merrier, really.
Development opportunities, what is it?
Apart from picking the winner, the question was, apart from picking the winner, is there development opportunities or a shortlist or a second, third prize? There isn't as such, but what we're doing with the Ideas tab, the new website that we're creating, is that we will absolutely nurture and try and in some way give advice, workshop, point in the right direction of, source some more funding for you perhaps to go through a development process. So we're absolutely trying to not see it just as the winner is the winner. We're trying to see, well, there is really only one winner in the respect that there's only going to be one play that's produced, but that we will try and support and not just drop applications. There will be a programme that develops it in some way and helps you along the way after. That's a definite change from last year. We're in a slightly better position with this new website and this Ideas tab because they've given us some money to develop projects outside of what we would do normally, and so that would fall into that remit, so we'd hope to kind of help,
Will the writers on the shortlist get feedback?
Yeah, we'll offer feedback, absolutely,
To the technicalities of the application, is there any specifics you have to have from us, or is it, we can present it however we want, include whatever information we want to go with it, unless I'm being crap?
Submitting your script and your contact details and your creative team at the start, that's more than enough, really. I mean, as wonderful as it is to get...
I've missed like that application.
No, not at all. We're trying to make it as uncomplicated as we can, to be honest with you.
Say, for example, you've got work in progress, really, something that's not completed, a play that's not completed.
Devised or
Written.
The guidelines for the entrance do say submit a full script. I think that we would understand, obviously, though, that a play that's happening, that is staged in May, would go through some dramaturgical work, and indeed will be very involved, both the Old Vic and 503, in getting the play there.
On the website, there is that it can be a full draft. It also can be a selection of scenes with a treatment.
Yeah.
A selection of scenes doesn't mean 10 pages of text, though.
No.
It's going to need to be...
Say majority.
Yeah, it needs to be substantial.
As far as like devised stuff goes, obviously it's not easy to put that on paper. And would you be willing, and if so, how do you go about arranging somebody to come and view, a section of the work?
We'd be very reluctant to programme a piece of devised work that we haven't seen.
Absolutely, yeah. So a synopsis and an idea is obviously great, whatever you can send us now, and then to arrange a time to view, and you can do the viewing at the Old Vic, or if there's 503 that's available.
But would it be a case of prior to the deadline contacting you and trying to arrange someone to see it prior to the deadline?
Yeah,
or?
so we would need to see it. We wouldn't need to see it prior to the deadline. We'd need to see it prior to the judging.
16th of February is a winning selection time, so we need to see it after 21st of January.
And if it's completely devised, you're happy to see selected bits of how much do you want to see?
The more we can see, the better.
Can you send multiple entries?
That's a good question. Last year, someone submitted 2 scripts, and one with one of them.
I think we'd be alerted if there were 12 to such an idea. Would that be fair?
Yeah.
Should we put a cap on how many then?
We say 3?
3, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah. I was gonna say
There we go.
3.
Policy made on the hoof.
What about adaptation? What about an adaptation of a book onto stage?
It would be on its merit, I think, but I would imagine that we wouldn't favour it. Yeah. It would have to be something quite radical with something old, I think.
Yes,
Is how
or
we
something
would put it.
existing, yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of length and what are we talking
There's one winner of a full-length night at the theatre. It needs to be something that we wouldn't need to pair with something else.
Talking about submitting a play with songs, do we need to send the songs in?
Wouldn't hurt.
A CD?
You've got it, yeah.
Okay, so they send it separately to the
Yeah,
application?
send it to the
Yeah, to you guys.
Yeah.
Does it matter if the play has been, if it's a devised play and it's been performed elsewhere before?
Good question.
Slightly depends where.
What
I mean,
about if
because-
it has been performed in Edinburgh, but then it's been redeveloped since then and changed a lot?
Yeah, it's really case by case. This, I think. For example, if it was a smash hit last year at Edinburgh, I think we'd seriously question the point of effectively doing an Edinburgh transfer for this award. Whereas if it was on for 2 nights in London or Manchester or wherever, then that's a completely different kettle of fish. So I don't think there's one rule on that.
I'm also a director. How can I maybe forward my
Okay, so as the directing application process will begin after we have selected the piece, and then the winning play will be put out to submission if it doesn't already have a director attached.
Is that the same with actors?
Yeah, we want to get as many people, give as many people the opportunity to be part of it as we can.
Would you be looking for us to suggest, or would you be happy for us to suggest what we had for, like, you know, producer or director and so on? Or would, you know, is that something you're responsible for, we should be responsible for, or is it a negotiation?
Ultimately, we as the producers of the shows will put together the best creative team to serve the piece of work that we have in front of us. Obviously, with devised work, that team is generally in place before you start, if it's already been devised, and we're not about to break that up. I think it's probably fair to say if there's a director that you want to work with as a writer, then we'll certainly take that into consideration. But that won't be part of the decision making for whether that play wins the award or not.
Thank you very much.
Yay. Thanks for coming, guys.
It's been interesting to hear the people that won last year, and also just to get a perspective from the people from Theatre 503, like Paul Robinson and Steve Roseman, talking about them just being interested in the work really, rather than having specific criteria. They really just want to see kind of new, bold work. And
I'm a writer and producer and actor. I've got an idea for a piece that I'm going to try and submit, go home and start writing tonight, basically.